Good evening. It looks like I am live, and I'm seeing the reassuring green moving bars that indicate I have audio. It's always reassuring to see that I have audio. Hi, Mom. Hi, Kermit. So, um, I am taking an hour away from the preparations. Tomorrow is Johan's 17th birthday. And to celebrate his birthday, we are having the regular Saturday dinner at our house, which means that we needed to get the house ready for lots and lots of people, which I think we're ready. Anyhow, we're as ready as we're going to get there. But more importantly, we have a lot of food to prep and get ready, and as much of it as I can do ahead of time, I will. I didn't want to start yesterday, which sometimes when I'm doing a really big meal like this, I'll start 2, even 3 days in advance. But what he wanted for his birthday dinner is he wants we're having whether he wants it or not at this point we're having ribs, and I've got 3 racks of ribs, and I've got some very small chunks of pork butt because I don't know. I can get like mammoth ones, but they didn't have them at the store, and I got 2 that were like 3, 4 pounds each. So I was not happy with the lack of. I really wanted a 10-pound chunk of pork, and that wasn't happening. Just as well, I suppose. I mean, my grill is small. I have a little offset smoker grill, and it's not going to hold all of this at once. So, what's going to happen is that I am going to. Hey, glad to see you made it, Differs. Um, I am going to be smoking things for a few hours, and then I'm going to move them to, well, the pork butt will go into my slow cooker to finish off and be pulled pork eventually. And the ribs will be started on the grill, and then I will move them to finish off in the oven. Normally, I wouldn't want to do this, but 2 things are a factor here. One, small grill, not enough room for both sets of meat at once. And I'll pull the microphone closer to me if it'll let me. It doesn't want to move. I don't know. I'm seeing green all the way here, but for whatever reason, it doesn't want to move. And okay, there we go. Ha! Now it's right in my face. Let me know if that's too much. Um, so I'm going to be doing cooking rather more than I want to, because the other thing is that it may very well top out at close to 110 tomorrow. So I definitely do not want to be cooking on the grill outside into the afternoon. So I'm going to start things in the morning and nurse it along as I can, and then we'll go ahead and move everything inside to finish cooking inside. But tonight I was rubbing the meat, which meant that I had to get everything um, I rinsed stuff off, patted it dry, and I had made up a rib rub that yeah, solar cooker would probably be very useful here. But the rib rub, the plan was for the rib rub is not to make it too spicy. The last one that I did wound up with much more of um, kind of more of a Mexican vibe in the last rib rub I did. And the rib rub before that, I had put Burberry in, and it was a little too spicy for my taste. So this rib rub hopefully I can find a nice sweet spot in the brown sugary chili powdery goodness with some nice heavy paprika in there and lots of garlic and onion. And I actually wrote down what I put in for a change. Often I will I'll kind of play it by ear and just sling stuff in there, see what happens. Um, but today I made some notes in case it turns out well. Then I'll remember what yeah. Yeah, differs. I can't, I don't have a big enough firebox to do that. So I've got an itty bitty little grill with a little side smoker firebox. And, I have bought a couple of, mesquite logs from a friend to use for the smoking. And I'm actually kind of, eh, we're gonna have to see. I may have to cut them down into smaller chunks. I haven't yet taken a look. The guys went and got those, so I haven't taken a look to see how big they are. If they're too big to fit in the little side box, eh. I have got to design and either build or have my son build a proper smoker box for me because I really want one. And I think buying one would cost way too much. So I will um, have one built or build one myself out of some. Yeah, Kermit, it feels a little weird to buy it because the stuff is a weed tree and it's all over the place. I'm gonna have to poke around and see. Yeah, exactly, differs. I need to find somebody that wants to get rid of some mesquite and get myself some. I have pecan on um the property here, but the problem is that we have someone that'll be eating tomorrow that has a serious nut allergy, and I don't know if using pecan wood to smoke will be an issue for a nut allergies, and I'm not about to find out. So I'm going to that's why I was like, okay, I need to come up with some mesquite quick. Um yeah, I actually have a seed pod sitting on my desk. I went for a walk early one morning the other morning, and even at that it was a bit much. We were going to start walking every day, and that got put off. Um Kermit, I don't know if it's a different subspecies, which is entirely possible, or if it's that you have less water than we do. Because we are on the dry line, but we are not over fully into the dry here. So if I pull this up here, you can see why I picked this up. It's like a little spirally snake pod. And cool little details on this. But this is a little mesquite pod. So yeah, right. No, the whole the nut allergy thing we're gonna just not. um I will have some wood when we get around to this fall, when we get around to clearing out our fence line because we've got trees in the fence. But I think that's hackberry, and no, I most of it's hackberry anyway. There's one little persimmon. I might smoke with persimmon. That might be interesting. I'll have to make sure I save chunks of that when we clean that out. Um, I would not cut a persimmon. However, it is actually in the chain link fence, so it's going to have to come out, sadly. But we have a mature persimmon that's actually on the neighbor's side of the big shop. And the fruits fall down, so I know if I want another persimmon, I can get it started. It'll take a while before it's mature enough to fruit, but yesterday night over dinner, we had friends for dinner, and which was really nice. It was fun to do the cheese souffles and have company and experiment. But we were talking about fruit trees and berries and what can be done here in Texas, and I think figs are a thing. Although they warned me they have a huge fig that once it starts to set fruit, it's likely to overwhelm all of us with the fruits. um, but right, Don, it's definitely going to have to come out. We've actually got there's some trees between us and the other neighbor that are very large and have been in the fence for probably decades. And I have got no idea what to do about that other than completely taking out the fence. But the trees are, I don't know, 30, 40 feet tall, well over both of our houses. And I like the shade. I want the shade. Um, so yeah, yeah, fig preserves are nice. And the other thing that's nice is cut the fig in half, brush it with some honey and grill it. And ooh, that is so good. Um, but I think, yes, the mesquite have thorns. I have not spent a lot of time up close and personal. And yes, I am aware that there are different species of mesquite. So that's a good idea, RK. I'm getting involved in the Master Naturalists. I missed the July meeting, just too much going on this week. But I'm going to try and get in on. Yeah, Mormon tea, if that's Yapon, I want that because I'd like to grow that and be able to brew my own. But yes, why no, Kermit? Is there something I should know? I know RK and Dorothy Grant and I were just talking about the tea that's made with yaupon holly, which I think is Mormon tea, but I could be wrong. Okay, I'm being told no Mormon tea. I'm going to assume there's a good reason for that. Should be interesting to find out why. Oh, okay. Um, hmm. I did not realize that's interesting. That's really interesting. Right. That's what I was thinking of, RK. Now I'm going to have to look and see if that has a Fedra in it or if we're talking about two different. This is the fun thing about common names and plants is that you can have the same common name, say mesquite, and mesquite can mean different things to different people. We had a little interesting flower pop up in the yard and come to find out that it's called rain lily, and I'm pretty sure there's at least three or four different things that are also called rain lily. Okay, I wondered if maybe the cows were eating it, Kermit, which would have made sense, but then, I mean, that would be interesting. You eat a steak and it gives you a buzz. Ooh, that's not that's not at all appetizing. Differs. Cheap beer, no, just no. Um, I know one of the things that I'm going to be making, and I started it tonight. I'm soaking the beans overnight, but I'll be doing baked beans under the meat while I'm smoking it tomorrow so that all the drippings go down into the beans because they get really good that way. But you're talking about cheap beer, and it reminded me that one of the things I'm going to throw in the sauce that the beans will be simmering in is about a cup of dry white wine. It so happens I have some wine left from having dinner with friends last night, and I was thinking of ways to use it. The baked beans recipes tend to call for things like apple cider vinegar, but the wine will actually work subbing in nicely. And Kermit, I think you're probably absolutely right. Tea gets applied to pretty much any kind of plant that can be used to brew something that has flavor. Um, I do have to say that Ilex vomitaria is not an appetizing name, and I believe it used to be used in Native American ceremonies that involved purging. So I think the intake of the Yapon Holly tea should be done with caution. Did not realize that was Ilex vomitoria, which I was familiar with from knowing about the using it for purging. And see, this is why it's fascinating um with the common names. And there's been a couple of times that I have used a common name and had somebody else correct me of, oh no no, um, don't do this, don't do that, and or that's not that plant, and I'm like, we're not talking about the same things. This is where the scientific names come in very very handy. Good to know, RK. I um wonder where the scientific name came from. It wouldn't be the first time that a plant got a scientific name that didn't actually necessarily pertain well to it, because, and I don't just think it was the Mormons, Kermit. There were a lot of different people that cut off from any kind of tea or coffee. Um, a lot of the settlers and explorers would get to a point where they wanted something to drink that wasn't, well, water in many cases wasn't good for you anyway. But so they were going to boil the water anyway, and they might as well boil it with something that gave it some flavor. Um, I'm trying to think. There's a there's a plant up in Alaska, and the name is escaping me off the top of my head. It's not buffalo berry. Oh, can't remember, but it's something called tea, and I have tried that, and it's nasty. Um, differs too much of anything? Yes, no. I mean, it really depends on what it is. Sometimes it'll just make you uncomfortable, but anything that has a little bit of caffeine in it will um, give you. Yes, Labrador tea. Thank you, Mom. I'm like, my brain just went, bzz, nothing there. See, now that's no fun, Kermit, unless they actually give you spam, in which case it's useful. Um, good to know, RK. There's also the whole thing that it's idiosyncratic. Some people can drink coffee, some people can't. My mom can't. I certainly can and do. Um, oh, the baked beans. So I was going to tell a story on, well, I don't know if it's a story on myself or my poor dad, but Dad liked to make baked beans from scratch periodically. And we also used beans as pie weights. So the pie weight beans were kept in a separate container from the regular dried beans that were to use for cooking. And so pie weights, I mean, when you're blind baking a pie shell for something like, say, a lemon meringue pie, you can poke it a million times with a fork so that the steam doesn't build up and it bubbles, but that doesn't always work. Pie weights, on the other hand, will hold the crust in place, um, and keep it from slumping or puffing up in places where you don't want. And you can buy ceramic pie weights, but those are expensive. You can also buy a couple of pounds of dried beans, which are pretty doggone cheap, and you can reuse it. I find using beans for pie weights works best if I put them in a very loose cheesecloth bag, so they can just slump down in the cheesecloth into the pie shell, and then you just grab. I usually have a knot at the top of mine. I grab the top, pull it out, and it's fine. Um, yeah, no, just to do the pie shell, and then you're gonna put um I don't know about using a sock, Kermit. I use cheesecloth because I usually have it on hand, and I actually have to replace it periodically because, kind of like a sock, it's cotton, and if you keep baking it, it basically crisps it up, and I'm afraid it'll catch on fire eventually. So, um, the pie weight beans were a thing that we did, and I we had like a, I don't know, a 2 quart mason jar, and the pie weight beans lived in that. Yep, marbles would work too. I don't think I've ever had that many marbles that my kids didn't, well, yes, exactly. See? Um, uh, yeah, let's not, well, actually, no, pie flambe, that would be, oh. See, I can't just keep switching things. But anyhow, my poor dad grabs beans to bake the baked beans with, and he's got his bean pot. And this was one of those where we were doing a lot of cooking outside over fire. So he had built a fire and he had a nice bed of coals. He dug a pit for the Dutch oven with the baked beans in it, lined it with coals, put more coals on top of the Dutch oven, and banked it for the night. And came back to it in the morning, and the beans were still crunchy. Okay, it hasn't cooked. Let's put more coals on there. Beans still crunchy. Finally, at the end of, I swear he cooked it for almost 2 days. The beans were still crunchy, and finally somebody put together the fact that he had grabbed the wrong beans, the beans that had been baked repeatedly. They were never going to soften up. So poor dad. We had our barbecue and there were no beans because they were never going to be anything other than chewing on rocks. Oh. Yes, creme brulee would be flaming pie or tart, as the case may be. Um, yeah, Dad is actually a pretty decent campfire cook. He's won awards for his um potatoes au gratin that he would do in a Dutch oven. I used to help him with recipe development. We ate potatoes au gratin fairly regularly at home because working out the exact proportions of flour to dredge the potatoes in, and whether you use cream or milk, what cheeses worked best, what sausages worked best. I think we used andouille on one, and we've tried linguiça, and yeah, the label maker is an excellent idea, and I have a label maker. I need to find it because I used to have it handy in the kitchen, and I used that for quite a few things. Right now, what I have is um, when I've got clear containers, so when I'm going to put something that's bulk in a clear container, I will cut part of the label off, like the one that I have right now that says navy beans. I've cut a little square of the plastic bag that they came in and tucked that in beside them so that I can actually see what's in my little clear container. And that's what I'm doing for the baked beans. It's about a pound and a half of navy beans soaking. So those will go towards baked beans tomorrow. Creme brulee is not difficult. Oh, well, thank you, Kermit. I'm not sure how the kids are going to feel about that. Anyhow, creme brulee is basically a custard, and then it gets finished by sprinkling sugar on top of it and torching the sugar. I bought a little kitchen torch. I actually bought it for painting, but to paint to roast out bubbles. And I can also use it for creme brulee. And since I have some ramekins now, I could do creme brulee in the little jam jars too. Probably it doesn't really matter, but it would be fun. That would be a big creme brulee, Kermit. Yeah. Uh, oh, the cheese souffle was surprisingly easy. I was very pleased with that. I was going to um, cook my way through the egg recipes, and I actually was going to, the next one up was going to be um, Scotch woodcock, which involves soft scrambled eggs and anchovies on toast, which sounds good to me. But somebody had challenged me to do souffle, so I was like, all right, challenge accepted. And we had invited friends to come on over for Thursday dinner because Sanford said that even though the house isn't necessarily company ready, shouldn't wait for it to be company ready because it might take a while. Uh,
And to never to make a woman happy with being company ready.
I don't know that it would be never, but I'm glad we started having people over though. Makes me happy. Um, ooh, whiskey boiled custard. That sounds interesting. You've intrigued me. Um, yeah, the little hand torch that uses the tiny bottle, and I actually can refill it. I've got a big bottle that does it. Um, that's It sounds like this is an outside, not during fire season recipe for you, Emily. Um, so yes, fire extinguishers. When we moved into the house, there was a fire extinguisher. And I took one look at it and I kind of was like, not going to try and use that because I don't know how old that is. I still don't know how old that is, but we did go ahead and buy a couple of new ones because the boy working in his shop, I decided a fire extinguisher was wise. And we also have a fire extinguisher in the utility room where it can be grabbed easily from the kitchen. Yes, fire is an outside cooking thing. I was watching not a cooking thing actually, oddly enough. It was a main cabin renovation show, and they were talking about upgrading the fire pit and having this outside cooking thing, and I was like, ooh, I like that idea. That's cool. So that gave me some ideas for what I'd like to do here. Problem with here is that it's so daggone hot that I both want to not heat up my kitchen, but I also kind of don't want to be outside cooking. So I don't know on that one. I have been told that the probable venue for FoolsCon for next year has a very large commercial kitchen, and I am looking forward to this. I haven't yet seen said kitchen because when I was actually at the facility, I was outside in a booth trying to sell books. Um, but yes, little torches are fun in the kitchen. Just careful. Oh, Kermit, we can teach you how to cook and nobody will get food poisoning. But yes, I have everything time coordinated for tomorrow. Can't sleep in, gonna get up and start cooking when it's down to the cool, um, low temperature of, I think our low this tomorrow morning is supposed to be 82. So, um, deliberately introducing the 4-year-old to playing with candles or teaching them fire safety with candles because, um, I have nuked coffee. Although right now I'm more likely to grab the dregs of the pot and make it into iced coffee. Uh, ooh, a trifle sounds good. Sanford, that's not nice. Although we haven't met Kermit in person, I suppose he might really be a frog. Um, oh, oh, I see. That was good, though. She did bring you the candle and the lighter rather than attempting to put those two together on herself. Well, okay, that's not so good, but at least she'll learn. Um, I think we all had to have encounters with hot stuff to figure it out. Um, I know I did. So, yes, learning experiences. Sometimes learning experiences are good and sometimes not. One of the things that I'm doing right now with Johan and this big dinner is we have um so we have two big whiteboards now. One is the shiny white spot you can see behind me, and the other one is on the other side of that wall, closing in that wall in the kitchen. So the kitchen one has turned into the menu planning for the week, work schedule for the boys work so that we know where he's supposed to be and when. Project list for the house so that the house gets closer to being company ready. And today it's a list of everything we need to get done for the party tomorrow, which at this point has now been taken from the roughed in, okay, this is what we want to do, to, okay, this is what we're prepping now. This is what time it starts to cook. This was what time it stops to cook. This is how we're keeping things warm from end of cook until, because I only have so much room in the oven and so much room on the stovetop. So everything has to be coordinated. And I'm teaching this to the boy because with a really big family meal, the challenge is to coordinate everything so that it's all ready to be done and on the and on the, not on the stove, but on the table at the same time. And this requires you to um, know about how long your prep time is going to be, about how long your cook time is going to be, and how long something can reasonably expected to be done and okay before it has to be served to people. So things like corn on the cob should probably be started about an hour before the cook. You're not cooking the corn then, but you are starting your water then. So it comes up to a good boil before you have to put the corn in it. At least that's how I do it. Um, but things like the mashed potatoes, we looked at the 15 ears of corn. Okay, that's going to be 2 pots, and that's pretty much going to take up most of the room on the stovetop. How are we going to do the mashed potatoes at the same time? Well, the answer to that is to do the mashed potatoes ahead of time, put them in the instant pot, and use it as a slow cooker to keep them warm until it's time to serve, because the crock pot will be full of pulled pork. So it's all about planning, and if I can teach the kid this, um, it will help him if he ever has to manage a large meal on his own. This is this is one of those things that it took me a few years to figure out. So hopefully I can help him learn from my mistakes. No, bacon is not good cold. And you definitely don't want bacon to be flabby. That is not good either. There's a nice balance between crispy bacon and yeah, you get that sweet spot and it's nice and hot. It's perfect. But so I'm doing ahead the cake. He asked me to make the cake from Portal. And so, after some confusion on my part, because I thought the cake from Portal was something else, but it turns out that the cake from Portal is a Black Forest cake. Um, oh, well, there's that too, Kermit. Bacon doesn't last long around here either. Um, so, I'm going to make the cake itself tonight. I'll do the decoration on it tomorrow because it'll have time to cool. And that's my after the live stream. I will be going to go in there and mixing up a Black Forest cake from scratch according to my son's favorite YouTuber. Um, okay, so you'll appreciate this then, Kermit. The other cake, there are two cakes because there's going to be a lot of people. Oh, he will definitely get the joke because he asked for specifically a sheet cake from Walmart because it's a nostalgia thing from his younger years, and he had the lady write on it. She's like, I can write anything on you want on it, honey. And he looked at her and can you write, it's a lie? She's like, what color would you like? He's like, I don't care, pick one. So we now have a sheet cake with rainbow sprinkles are on the sides, and on the top of it in green icing is written, it's a lie. We have no idea if the Walmart lady got the joke or not, but
it'd be funny if she thought it was like, it's a boy, but no, it's a lie.
it's a lie.
That would be confusing if you think about the story behind it.
Oh, ends and pieces bacon is fabulous. We do that too. Actually, one of the things we're going to miss about having moved so far away from Kentucky is that there was one place where we could get flats of ends and pieces bacon, usually like super thick slabs. And yeah, I'm gonna miss that because that was really inexpensive too. We'd buy like 20 pounds of it at a time, package it and freeze it, and it would last us for months. But yeah, Amanda, I don't know what it is about the cheap sheet cake, but that was what he wanted to do, and I'm like, no problem, because this means I'm not making massive amounts of dessert. I'm gonna get away with one Black Forest cake, and that will be a nice supplement. Of course, I still have leftover bee sting cake from yesterday because we were all full after dinner, so the everybody had a modest piece of cake, and that was it. So yeah, I think that's it, Farm Girl. It tastes like childhood. I really do, and I have no problem with it. I mean, the fun thing is that when
Talking about my inexplicable love of sheet cakes.
well, it turns out you're not alone. There's other people out there that are like that.
We would get like ones a few days before they would go absolutely rancid. But they weren't bad. This, they were past their expiration dates. From food banks
Yeah,
all the
when you
time.
were living with your father.
Um,
Because when you lived with me, I made cakes.
we would get one like once a
So,
month, and it
hmm
was a 9-person household, but it would still last 3 days because those were half sheet cakes.
yeah. So, how I think we got a quarter, didn't we?
Yeah, we got a
Yeah,
quarter
yeah.
because we're
So we
also
got
gonna do the portal cake.
right. So, yep, he is a wild child. He has received most of his birthday gifts because we decided that we weren't going to do anything surprise. So he got taken to Harbor Freight today and given a budget to pick out stuff.
Not really a budget. We
Well,
already talked about what I wanted.
so he wanted an orbital sander, the palm sander, and he got a nice leather tool belt and a nice wooden plane. Oh, and chisels, some
And a good
woodworking
wood.
chisels.
Yeah, not lathe because we have lathe chisels
We
left,
have lathe tools.
but
Those are Sanfords.
they're not actually all that sharp.
Well, I
Lathe
mean,
tools are not meant to be all that sharp.
right. That's what I figured. The lathe tools are antiques. Those are the real
I wouldn't
deal.
say they're antiques.
Ooh, rose hip ice cream. Ooh, oh, now I have goals, Kermit. Thank you. That's a wonderful idea.
If only we still had a Friendlies near us, because a Friendlies ice cream cake, that is also. That and the rock hard frozen gummy worms.
Oh yes, I remember those. Those were never fun. I was always afraid I was going to break a tooth when I found one by accident.
They were great.
The other two things that he got for his birthday is so the portal cake that I'm making is from Binging with Babish. And he asked for and got a Babish knife set. So he now has his own knife roll, a chef knife, a paring knife, and a bread knife. They're very nice. They're quite solid tang, so they should last him for a good long time. They're stainless steel, not carbon steel, which is just as well because they don't require quite the level of maintenance that a carbon steel would. And the other thing that he got was a carbon steel wok.
Which
Uh,
sucks because
why does it suck?
Babish,
Oh,
the
well.
same guy who made the knives, which are great quality, and all his product line is great quality, had a cheap blue carbon steel wok that didn't come out until what, a month or
It
two?
wasn't going to ship until August,
It
so
just doesn't come out till August. I don't think they
yeah,
have a restock.
they
of
haven't
it.
released it yet. So, ah, Kermit's wife differs, likes Babish as well.
Oh, it's a great.
So
He's a great person.
he's got Johan has his cookbook. I think that was Christmas year before last year, somewhere in there. Anyhow, yeah, real whipped cream. We
Oh.
don't do Cool Whip around here.
And I got Elden Ring.
You got oh he also got a video game.
Elden Ring.
So I have no
I'm
idea.
not having fun.
Oh, you're not?
No, no fun at all.
Why?
You don't understand.
I have no idea.
It's a Dark Souls games.
Oh, right. They have a reputation for being difficult.
No,
RK, I also have a cast iron wok, but it's mine. So the carbon steel wok is
We
his.
have a stainless steel wok, but that's like an actual proper wok.
Right, with a rounded bottom. So we won't be able to use that because we have an electric stove. We won't be able to use the real wok until we have either an outside kitchen where I can cook over the fire with it, or
The
we
gas.
switch over to a gas range.
I thought we were, not if.
Ah, Amanda says, you log in, you die.
Yes.
Tons. Okay. Don, I think we all speak typo or read typo, as the case might be. Um, and Don, if you're hot, the heat hen, the whipped cream might help cool you down. Ah.
Depends on how it's used. It can heat you up too.
Huh, okay. I've not tried it. Mine has the round bottom and the ring, and I really thought that over an electric burner it would not do well. So I put it aside to put in storage until um but chicken math, chicken whipped cream. Okay. Oh, well, okay, so this what you're telling me, Amanda, is my son's going to be busy with the video game for a while. I have no objection to this. He's actually pretty decent about his games. He's working 20 hours a week right now. And oh yeah, mine is a cast iron flat bottom too. So, okay, so we're talking about two different woks. I have two woks. I have a cast iron flat bottom wok, and I have a spun steel rounded bottom wok. And that one's the one that I have set aside. Uh, ooh, yeah, it's well, the carrot cake I'm on board for. The maple frosting, I would try it. Sanford would make hissing noises and back away slowly. Ooh, that's really bad. That is a bad joke. Oh, it's funny as the kids have gotten older, they I mean, I'm not going to well, Mom, the round bottom whack that I have you gave me. Um the kids are funny now because all of them, even the girls before they moved away, didn't necessarily want a big celebration. I mean, in Johan's case, he has made it very clear that even though we're having the party at our house, um, he's basically giving everybody a gift by feeding them, but he does not want presents from anyone, and he really, really does not want us to sing to him. Um, so
One hand.
yes, we will see how that goes. But so
I will leave if you all sing.
so we'll do a cake, and there will be ice cream, but not necessarily cake and ice cream together. My child and I both find cake and ice cream together to be not good eats.
The only thing that's good is cake and brownies. If you get fresh, not cake and brownies, ice
Brownies
cream
and
brownies.
ice cream, yeah.
Yeah, if you get fresh
So,
brownies and vanilla ice cream.
Grandma says happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
But so we're gonna have a cake, but the presents all got given to him willy nilly without wrapping because that's kind of the way he wants it.
This family recently has taken a turn where we don't really do much secretive stuff
No,
present wise. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just we talk to each other about what we need.
okay, yeah, vegan lasagna is gonna be a challenge because no cheese, no meat. That's gonna be interesting.
No, it's gonna have cheese and meat. It's gonna have really expensive cheese and meat, the vegan stuff,
Oh, right,
or the
right.
impossible beef.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's
Or if you want to do it without
basically
cheese and meat,
soy
I don't think
patties. Yeah, French fries dipped in milkshakes was something that my kids would do. I never quite got the appeal of that one, but that was definitely a kid or at least my girls. Johan's making a face
No,
back
it
there.
was good if you did it at Wendy's. If you did it anywhere else, it was just it never was right.
Interesting. I wonder what's different about Wendy's milkshakes.
The fries are crispier, and the
Oh,
milkshakes melt a specific way because but they are different. They're a bit more um thin. They're thinner when they melt.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least she loved it differs. I mean,
I
it
know.
does not sound like
I worked at
it does not sound like a vegan lasagna is something that I would want to try. So, yeah. Yeah, see, soy and it's funny because so we weren't able to when I was growing up, we couldn't buy pre-made meatballs because most of them had been supplemented with soy. So there was some beef in there, but there was also a lot of soy or TVP in there. And my dad can't digest soy, so we if we were going to do meatballs, it was always make it at home. And to this day, I have the habit now of reading certain kinds of labels to make sure that there's no TVP in there. Doug, that may work. And also, you could probably mix your vanilla frosting with just a little bit of vanilla syrup too. I bought vanilla, not vanilla, maple syrup. Brain, two different levels there. Um, I'm not sure what maple extract is actually made out of.
quickly. How many people are we expecting tomorrow?
14 or 15.
50.
So
Sorry.
yeah, meatballs from scratch is absolutely the best, but there's times that it's really nice to be able to just grab a bag of frozen meatballs and have it on hand for quick dinners.
We got bulk bag of meatballs from Gordon's Foods once, and those were decent.
Yeah, no, we got some restaurant supply meatballs one time that were really good. It was like 5 pounds. That lasted us a long time. Um, yeah, I mean, we all have to learn from our mistakes, and vegan lasagna would be one of those mistakes that we learned from. Oh. See, now this is the difference between a domestic housewife like Differs and a feral housewife with me. I can't do everything from scratch anymore. As much as I want to, I can't. So having some quick and easy food in the freezer for days where I'm writing and the words are flowing and I'm trying to get some stuff done. Um, oh, so, speaking of writing, topic change because my brain. And okay, so two things. One is writing business related. One of my daughters has asked if she can work with me to help me with marketing and promotions. So she is currently going through a steep learning curve trying to learn how to do an Amazon ad campaign. And whereupon we will advertise probably Pixie Noir because it's my only completed adult series right now. And we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping it works well. I'm going to pay her because the kid's seriously underemployed right now. And she's really enthusiastic about it. She's going great guns on this, which is fantastic. Um, and so hopefully that works because goodness knows I could use a boost in the sales. And the other thing is that in the course of doing some research and looking at sales numbers, I did something I don't think I've ever done before, and I pulled up and looked at all of the total lifetime pages read for Kindle Unlimited. And I expected Pixie Noir to be topped out there because it is consistently my best seller, or it was. I have a bad habit. I don't look at my numbers ever. And I was doing that so that I could talk intelligently to my daughter. And so the surprise was that the most read book of mine is not Pixie Noir or any of the Noir trilogy. Pixie comes in number two Tanager Sledgelings. So what that told me, two things. One, For some reason, my science fiction sells better, and two, I really, really have to finish Tanager's flight. So, speaking of becoming a feral housewife after the party is over, because I'm going to be cooking and then exhausted, my plan is to pick up the writing pace a lot on on Tanager's flight so I can get that done and get it out there in the next couple of months. What?
Move a shape.
Oh, yes. Johan wants me to move a shape. Um, I like the Tanager series. I'm happy with it. I want to write more of it. I have a planned trilogy with the possible for spin-offs and extensions. So but I'll finish the trilogy first. Might as well tell. So it'll be Tanager's Fledglings, Tanager's Flight, which is in process, and the final one will be Tanager's Fleet. Um, so all of my F words there. um, but the goal is to give the kids some work, which means making more money. But the secondary goal is also for her to be able to build something onto her resume and have that so that she could then possibly parlay that into um, another job that would allow her to make more money because there's going to be an upper limit on what I can pay her unless things go completely nuts, which I don't expect to do. But we'll see. I mean, basically, I'm giving her some help. She's helping me, and it's all good. And I'm very happy that she is doing this, that she's doing the learning that necessary, and hopefully, it'll give my sales a boost. I that comment particularly derailed me there. I'm. Are you still living near the crackheads? Or are you not living near them? I hope you're going to not be there. Um, no, I never submitted Tanager to Bane. I've never submitted anything to Bane. I have got my own publishing imprint, so I didn't really need to. I might at some point submit something to Bane, but it's not on the it's not on the radar right now. I'm able to put my own stuff out and have full control. Ah, okay, Don. I was not completely paying attention to the chat, and all of a sudden that caught my eyes, and I went, "Wait, what? Do we need to make sure she gets somewhere safer?" But okay, good. Um, those poor Mormon missionaries. They're usually pretty decent kids, but I don't know why the dog is fussing.
Because Daddy's not paying attention to it.
Ah, well, the Raconteur Press is. I don't know what's the plans there. They will be running some. They will be running anthologies, um, and I don't know that I'll be writing for anthologies anytime in the near future, other than Malta 2. Yes, RK, you and I need to do a linked story for that. But it's looking like I didn't get into the last two anthologies that I submitted to. So um, I will. I will probably devote my time focusing on novels and finishing up with any of the short projects that I have just to get them done and be able to have something. Um, oh, that's not good, Don. That is no bueno. That is very unusual for them, and I definitely see why you messed with them. And yeah, the ones that I've had interaction with, other than ones that had already served their mission, were avid helpers at the library, which was very sweet. And yes, we fed them because, well, young men with so income and yeah. So the ones that I've met in the past were actually nice kids. Um, but yeah, no, that would tick me off. I would not put up with that. Um, we have had one door-to-door salesman since we moved into this house, and come to find out, reading the little weekly newspaper later, that someone called and reported him to the local cops. Um, I just was like, "Go away! I don't want to bother with you." um, yeah. So tomorrow's going to be a big day with a lot of fun for feeding people, and ook, I gotta sit up, leaning back oddly in this chair, and my brain is wandering because I'm tired. So far today, I have worked. We have run around to do all the shopping, and we did house cleaning and started with the prep and the cooking, and I still have prep to go on this. Get a loaf of bread going into the oven as soon as I get off with talking to y'all, and then I've got the um, cake to bake tonight, and so 2 layers, round cake. It'll be fun. The only thing I did talk him out of was that we did not buy kirsch, so it will not be a boozy cake because
I don't like that, anyways.
he doesn't like the flavor of booze. So, um, so he's going to have the Black Forest with the cherries and the chocolate shavings and the whipped cream frosting, and it'll be really good. So, and there will probably be pictures on the blog or somewhere roundabout in the next couple of days.
I keep on bothering you, but I thought I'd tell you there's a storm coming.
There is a storm coming. Ooh, lovely. Maybe it'll cool things down and we can actually get some rain. We could use some rain. Everything's crispy dry because it's been running hundreds and it's going to be running hundreds for the next week. But this is life in Texas, and I'm not unhappy with it because Sanford informed me the other morning, sitting out on the porch with him, that it's really nice that he can, anytime he starts to feel pain from the arthritis, he can just go sit out in the heat and it melts away. And that is worth it right there. So, oh, that's not good, Differs. I'm so sorry you guys' AC has been having so many problems. That's awful. I hope Kermit can get this fixed quickly. You guys can get some cooled. But yeah, that's one good thing is our AC, it seems to be keeping up with things. My electric bill is unspeakable, but the AC at least seems to be keeping things cool. And I may have to look into beefing up our insulation this fall. But ain't nobody going up into the attic to work right now. Not happening. It's only cooling down to 80 overnight, which means that it's still in the 90s in the attic at bare minimum overnight. So, nope, not doing it. Um, but yeah, no, it's gonna be fun tomorrow, and then I'm gonna get cooking on Tanager's flight. Um, my goal is to have that novel done. Well, I'm doing reading and acceptances for the hunting anthology, and um the contract was supposed to go out today, and I don't know if I'm going to manage that or not. I haven't yet finished with everybody's read and acceptance or rejections. Sadly, I have had to have a couple of those. Yes, we have an automatic attic exhaust fan. There, can't talk. Uh, it clicks on at a certain temperature. Don't recall what that temp is at the top of my head, but it does exhaust. Um, so Yeah, 80s and 90s doesn't sound like fun, Mom, but it's easier on you um to not have. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do no AC down here, so hopefully you can spend some time outside in the shade and there'll be a breeze for you. Kiddie pool with a fan works too. I should probably see if I can't find a kiddie pool for the dog. She doesn't usually like a lot of water, but she might enjoy it. Have to make sure it's in the shade though, because uh, if it's out in the sun, the water will be too hot. Oh, somebody was talking about a solar oven earlier. Johan and I plan to experiment with baking cookies in my car. Ha! All right, folks. I have talked at you for an hour. My voice is not playing nicely, and my brain is skittering off in all directions and mangling words worse than usual. So I'm going to say goodnight, and I will see you all next week. And hopefully, everybody stays cool and enjoys their weekend. Bye, y'all.